The senseless murders of 3 young boys crushed a small community. And when you hear who's been charged, you'll be outraged. On Inside Edition, straight ahead.
They were 3 small buddies, but when they were found murdered, this small town was in an uproar. Now, these 2 boys have been charged, and this one found guilty of the brutal crimes.
He deserves to be tortured and punished for the rest of his life for murdering 3 8-year-old children.
Today, the sad story of innocence lost.
Hello, welcome to Inside Edition. I'm Craig Rivera. Bill O'Reilly is on assignment. Crime against kids by kids is increasing at an alarming rate. And right now in Arkansas, there's a case that has sent shockwaves across the country. Here's Scott Rappaport.
Time has not healed the wounds in West Memphis, Arkansas. The pain here runs too deep. The memories hurt too much. Memories of 3 carefree little boys who rode off on their bicycles one day and never returned.
We're talking about little boys, 7 years old, 8 years old.
Michael Moore, Stephen Branch, and Christopher Byers will never see their friends again.
It's sad.
Or spend another day at the little elementary school they used to attend.
It's horrible.
Or see their mothers and fathers again.
We did all we could, but wouldn't nobody come help us.
Last May, just one day after the 3 little buddies disappeared, police made a gruesome discovery. Michael, Stephen, and Christopher were found dead in a ditch, submerged in shallow water, their hands and feet bound. They were bludgeoned and sexually abused. West Memphis recoiled in horror.
It's but for the grace of God, it could have been our children.
For weeks, an intensive manhunt. The killers were on the loose, the community gripped by fear. Then in June, arrests in the case, and the unbelievable news from police. The alleged killers were practically kids themselves. Damian Echols, 18, Jesse Miskelly, 17, and Jason Baldwin, 16, teenagers from the neighborhood, leaving parents of the victims like Pam Hobbs, the mother of Stephen Branch, facing the most agonizing of questions.
I was asking God, why God?
The trials of the 3 teenagers have become one of the biggest stories ever in Arkansas. So big, the case had to be moved because of pretrial publicity. Now, from the beginning, police considered Jesse Miskelly, who ironically used to babysit for kids in the neighborhood, a prime suspect. Finally, he confessed, implicating Jason Baldwin and Damian Echols, who both maintain their innocence. The taped confession is chilling.
Do you know which one raped which boy, or how did that happen?
Damian raped Demar by his girlfriend. Jason raped the Branch.
That confession became a major point of contention in the case. A defense psychologist testified that Miskelly had the mental capabilities of a 5 to 8-year-old child, that he didn't know what he was saying. Miskelly's lawyers moved to have the confession thrown out. But the judge allowed Miskelly's confession to stand.
I listened to the tenor of his voice at the time, and it seemed to me to be a person that knew and understand each response that was given to the officer, and that he waived his right to remain silent.
But there was more. The testimony in the case was as shocking and unbelievable as a horror movie, including allegations of Satanism and satanic cults. Brutal testimony that the parents of Stephen Branch and Christopher Byers were forced to endure.
In looking at premeditation, the injuries themselves speak loudest. Multiple skull fractures. Chris Byers bleeds to death, and Stevie Branch and Michael Moore are drowned.
After a 2.5-week trial, the verdict.
We, the jury, find Jesse Lloyd Miskelly, Jr. guilty of second-degree murder in the death of Stevie Branch. We, the jury, find Jesse Lloyd Miskelly, Jr. guilty of second-degree murder in the death of Chris Byers. You will receive a life sentence plus 40 years, and that'll be the judgment of the court.
Jesse Miskelly, convicted of 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. But the sentence was of little consolation to the families of the murdered children, like the stepfather of Stephen Branch.
How much we loved him, how much we miss him.
and the irate parents of Christopher Byers.
He deserves to be tortured and punished for the rest of his life for murdering 3 8-year-old children.
He deserves to rot right in Cummins. The only way he needs to come out of Cummins is feet first in a box. For taking 3 lives like he did, he got what he justly deserved, and yes, I'm glad some justice has been done.
The trial of the other accused killers, Jason Baldwin and Baldwin and Echols, which began 2 weeks ago, is currently winding up in Jonesboro, 80 miles north of West Memphis. The 2 are charged with capital murder. A verdict is expected soon. Both Echols and Baldwin face the possibility of the death penalty. But regardless of the verdict, no matter what the outcome, it can never erase what happened here in West Memphis to 3 bright, beautiful little boys in a town that has lost its innocence.
Jesse Miskelly is appealing his sentence. Deliberations in the other 2 cases could begin on Wednesday.